So last week, Joseph's brothers headed off to Egypt, middle of a famine. They need food. They don't know that he's there. They arrive. Joseph sees them there, realizes that it is his brothers. And after a bit of playing around and pretending they're spies and putting them into prison, he sends them back off to Egypt, to Canaan, with all the grain that they need, with the money put back in their sacks. And he lets them go. And he tells them to come back with their youngest brother. And in today's story, they have to come back. They've actually held off a long time. One of the brothers says to their dad, he says, look, if we could have gone and been back twice if you had just let us go. But Jacob had been holding them back because he didn't want Benjamin to go. He didn't want to let Benjamin out of his sight. He was very protective of his son. But eventually they have to go, and they arrive back in Egypt, worried about this money that they'd found in their sacks, worried about what's going to happen. But actually they needn't have worried. Joseph is not seeming to want to take out his revenge upon them. And he wants to see his younger brother. And we'll find out more what happens this week and then next week as things get even more complicated with young Benjamin. Fantastic name, by the way. But today, we're thinking about two of the biggest words in the Bible. I'm not talking about Joseph's Egyptian name, which was Zaphanath-Paneah, presumably because the king of Egypt was not very good at saying Joseph, and he wanted something that tripped off the tongue a bit more easily. But no, today we are thinking about two of the most important words in the Bible: forgiveness and repentance. Now, as I was thinking about this, I was kind of, how do you define forgiveness? We talk about forgiveness a lot in church, and actually, if you're a parent or a child, then you have been told to forgive, I'm sure, more times than you can remember, alongside saying sorry. Being told to forgive is something that just happens, but what really is it? Forgiveness is when someone has done something bad to you, but you deliberately choose not to resent them, be angry at them, or get revenge on them. So it's a deliberate choice that you make. And repentance is when you've done something wrong, but actually you're really sorry, and you change the way that you behave. And this changing is the important part of repentance. Repentance is not just saying, I'm sorry, but actually it's about really living that sorriness. Now, we saw last week, Joseph could easily have left his brothers in prison for the rest of their lives. He could have got revenge on his brothers quite easily. No one would have blinked an eyelid. They would have said, well, he's the second in command of all of Egypt. If he tells us that these men are spies, we will leave them in prison. Or he could have had them executed. He could have done whatever he liked. He could have sold them off as slaves. He was that powerful, and they were in the palm of his hand. But he didn't. He chose to forgive them. But he's also trying to see if they are repentant, to see if they've changed. He wants to see how they treat their youngest brother, Benjamin, his brother, to see if they treat him, Benjamin, like they had treated Joseph, who they sold into slavery. These things are really hard. That's why they're big words, because actually forgiveness and repentance are not easy things. We actually struggle to do them. And I want to play you a video of something else that is really hard to do. If we play the video.